guys. So today I am going to discuss about most important topic, and I am going to give some tips also about this topic, as because this topic is one of the most important and vital topic for each and every individuals in throughout the world, as because this topic is about being the punctual. And today I am going to give the 15 tips which gives the guarantee that you will always be on time, that is punctual, and never be late. So this topic is very essential, starting from 8 years of age to 80 years of age. And so let's start with point number 1, that is the first tip. Remind yourself why you want to be more punctual. So let's discuss about this first tip. When you are launching your own business, you need to determine the reason behind your actions. Doing so will keep you motivated and ensure that you stick with it. This may also help you identify potential roadblocks and solutions to overcome them. The same is true of why you want to be more punctual. Let's take an example. Is your tardiness adding stress to your life? Is it putting a strain on your relationships? Is it harming your reputation because you are seen as someone who is unreliable or constantly missing deadlines? Reflect on why you want to stop being late. Think about how this is going to make your life better. And after you have done this, make being on time a priority. Now coming to the second tip, that is know yourself. So let's start. Let's say that you are always late to work. Is it because you are not waking up early enough? Does your commute take longer than you think? Are you underestimating how long it takes for you to get around? You can't fix your tardiness problem if you don't get to the root of the problem. You may notice that it could be a simple solution, like setting your alarm 15 minutes earlier in the morning. Also, get to know your personal clock so that you can plan your day around that. For instance, let's say you are the type of person who needs an hour or two to get moving after waking up. Then it would be counterproductive to wake up at 8 a.m. and expect to be at work by 9 a.m. Instead, you either set your alarm earlier or arrive at work later in the day. Now coming to the third tip, that is become a scheduling pro. Perhaps the main reason why being on time is an issue is because you are not managing your time effectively. The best way to correct this is by becoming a master at scheduling. Start by tracking your time. This includes everything from the length of your commute, the time spent responding to emails, and how long it takes you to complete your work. You can do this manually or use a time tracking app. Regardless of how you go about this, you need to know how you are spending your time so you can be realistic with your plans. Ideally, you should do this for a couple of weeks to give you a more accurate picture. After that, you can schedule everything in your calendar to prevent conflicts like being late. For example, If you found out that it takes you 2 hours to finish a specific task and you start it at 9 am, then you would not schedule a meeting across town at 11 am. There is just no way you would get there on time. Now coming to the fourth tip, that is, it is always better to overestimate. Speaking of scheduling, it's usually for the best to overestimate. That's because no matter how organized you are, you can't predict the unexpected. This could be sitting in traffic because of an accident or not being able to get in the zone when working. Heck, sometimes we spend more time getting dressed and ready to leave the house than we thought. There have been several times when I underestimated how long it took for my clothes to dry, which led to me leaving later than planned. The worst thing that could happen is that you arrive early and you could use that time to catch up on some reading, emails, or prepping for your next to-do list item. Now coming to the fifth tip, that is, take into account transition activities. Most of us give ourselves just enough time to get from A to B or jump from one task to another. Overestimating is one way to handle unexpected events. However, I feel a lot of people don't take into account transition activities. For example, if you have a lunch meeting that starts at noon, did you block out the appropriate amount of time to get from your office to the restaurant? If not, you may have inadvertently scheduled something else on your calendar that butts right up against the meeting, leaving you not much time to get to the event on time. As a rule going forward, less time buffers between your calendar entries. This way you have extra time in case of an unexpected event. And most importantly, you are avoiding any potential scheduling conflicts. Now coming to tip number 6. Plan the night before. Instead of rushing around every morning, establish an evening routine where you prep for tomorrow tonight. Examples include laying out your clothes, packing your lunch, knowing where your keys and wallets are, and reviewing your calendar. If you have a presentation, practice and have all documents and equipment packed, organized, and ready to go. Now coming to tip number 7. Set your watch later. Here is an easy enough hack that can trick your brain into thinking it is later than it is. Just set your watches and clocks 5 or 10 minutes later than the actual time. Just make sure that they are all swing so that you won't get confused when you wristwatch and clocks on your phone, computer, laptop, and wall are displaying various times. Tip number 8. Use reminders and notifications. These days, reminders and notifications are automatic. For example, if you got tickets to a concert using your Gmail address, then you will receive an email reminding you of the event. Whenever you add an entry to your calendar, you will also receive reminders. Here is the thing. Most people don't alter these reminders and notifications. In other words, if you have a meeting at 3 p.m. and you may receive a reminder 5 minutes prior, or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 20 minutes prior, that is all well and good. But if you set the reminder to 30 minutes, that would ensure you leave the office with plenty of time to get off the meeting. Now coming to point number 9, that is the tip 9. Underschedule yourself. Remember when you tracked your time? That information can prevent you from spreading yourself too thin. For instance, if you know that you have meetings all day and you need time to travel and prep between each, then you are not going to commit to a last minute conference call or helping an employee out with the problem. Instead, you would schedule them for another day when you have the availability. Now coming to tip number 10. Rethink your semantics. Instead of thinking, we have to be at the recital at 5. Think, the curtain goes up at 5, which is written by Ellen Hendrickson on HuffPost. There is a big difference between being in your seat, program in hand, versus having technically arrived, but still cruising around looking for packing at the appointed hour. Hendrickson suggests changing the wording in your head. For example, I need to be in the restaurant at 7:30. The meeting begins at 2. Or I have an hour to finish this and drive there and park. Now coming to tip number 11. Stop trying to squeeze in just one more thing. We have all been guilty of this. You look at the clock and realize that you have to leave in 10 minutes. As opposed to just sitting there, you decide to respond to an email or return a phone call. Next thing you know, you have spent 20 minutes cleaning out your inbox or chatting on the phone. I know that you don't want to waste any valuable time, but you need to keep that urge under control. If not, you will end up doing less. My solution around this would be to just get up and leave. If you are super early, you can spend that time replying to emails or whatever sub-tasks you need to cross off your list. Now coming to tip number 12. Schedule events during off hours. Even if you don't commute to work, I am sure that you at least have an idea on when peak travel times are. Usually, this is right before 9 a.m., noon, and a little after 5 p.m. Instead of joining in on the rat race, schedule events when things are not hectic. Since you are your own boss, this shouldn't be an ordeal. Set your schedule where you come into work after 9 and leave around 6. If you wake up early, then leave your home before rush hour begins and work from home until it is time to go. Plan an early lunch meetings when it will be less crowded on the roads and the restaurant is. Now coming to tip number 30. Play the host. Want to avoid travel time? Host more events. Now take an example. Instead of leaving your office and traveling across town, have the meeting in your conference room. Now coming to tip number 40. Be ruthless with your time. When you have something scheduled on your calendar, then that is the only thing that you should be focused on. That means not getting distracted with smartphone notifications or stopping whatever you are doing to grab coffee with a friend. It may also involve saying no more often. For instance, if you have already committed to attending a social event, then you may have to decline an invite for another event on the same day. Now coming to the last and the final tip, that is the 15th tip: prioritize your sleep. What does sleeping have to do with topics? Well, oversleeping is one of the most common reasons why people run late. It's impossible to get to work by 9 a.m. when you slept until 8:30. Make it a point to get between 6 and 8 hours of sleep each night. It sounds ridiculous, but the best way to do this is by waking up and going to bed at the same time. Avoid blue light at least an hour before hitting the bed, and keep your bedroom cool and dark like a cave. So, thank you to all. I hope that I have been able to make understand all the 15 tips that how to be punctual enough and never be late, as because it is the most important thing for each and every individuals, not only in one country, throughout the world, and each and every individuals always used to have to follow these 15 tips so that they should never be late and they should always be time. And I also request to all of my colleagues who used to be late since long days, so that from these 15 tips I think that they can be much more aware and they can also learn from these 15 tips, so that they don't even make this mistake from the next time, and they should always be punctual on time and never be late. Either the office time is from 8:30 or 9 or 10 or any of the time or any of the shift, it doesn't matter, but always remember that in school or colleges or corporate sector, anywhere, you always have to be very much punctual and never be late. So if you like my video, then please comment, share, subscribe, and after subscribing, please click on the bell icon so that you can get much more updates about lots of videos. So thank you to all. Have a good night and have a nice day.